men right here, some in the audience, and some all over this country. Muslim men are generally chauvinistic, believing in the separation, physical separation of woman, and assigning women to a lesser task as human beings. In fact, so forever joining things without examining them. But if you're going to join something, you transform it. Join it and transform it into something that you want to use for your liberation. Everything you belong to, from a whist club to a fraternity to a church, should be an instrument of liberation, or stop wasting your time. I have never been able to explain, even partly, why anybody should belong to Jehovah's Witnesses. And what has this got to do with the Zulus? Maybe everything, maybe nothing. If the founder of Jehovah's Witnesses said that there's room in heaven for 250,000, well, there ain't no room for us. Ain't enough room for the white members. You know they're going to take precedent. So what are you doing hanging out over there? We want a big heaven where all of us can fit. Because we have used our emotion in a wrong way. We have not seen the best things about us, and we have let others emphasize the worst things about us. Now, there was another series by Basil Davidson that was fairly good. It was fairly good mainly because Basil Davidson focused on chronological history. I mean, step by step, the progression of history, moved it on. His series can be used in a classroom because so many of us in a color trap, and we had to buy one of the series for use in the classroom. We would buy the Ali Mazaroi because he's alleged black, and Basil Davidson is alleged white. And that's what we would have gone wrong, because Basil Davidson's series is at least usable in the classroom. If he takes a piece of history, he runs it straight to its ultimate conclusion before he moves to the next one. Ali Mazaroi didn't stay on anything over 2 minutes. It's choppy, episodic, and it's not usable. And yet, technically, from the view of camera work and angles and technology, it was the finest series that's ever been done. From the point of view of content in history teaching, it was one of the worst. Now let's come back to the series, The Zulus, where so many things were wrong, technically, factually. The whole thing was at least 95% factually in error. The people didn't talk like Zulus. These were actors, and bad actors at that. The people didn't look like Zulus half of the time. Nearly all of the lead women were light to the point where Zulus are not. And they had words, they were saying words that Zulu women do not say. You had one scene where a sister looks at her brother who's the future king, and she said, I would have a chance of being queen, and you're going to be the future king only because of what's between your legs. African women don't talk that way. Clinical descriptions of sex belong in a medical book. You just don't go around talking about clinical descriptions of sex. It's a highly personal, confidential thing between a man and a woman. Group sex is as bogus as group therapy. But the dogs on the street don't think so, because they are dogs and you're human. You're supposed to think so. It's a personal and sacred thing to human beings, and it is a matter of maneuver and negotiation and conviction and convincing between two human beings. And even if it fails, you don't go out and publicize. It still remains a confidential matter between two human beings and not for the community. You give it that dignity, and Africans gave it that dignity. And they didn't shout about it in this way. Now, when we look at the people that we call Zulus, who are these people? Because the mass media is out to control image. They're out to, if they control what you look at, they can control what you think. If they control what you think about yourself, they can control what you do about yourself. Now, if they give you an example of the Zulus that's bogus, you will forget that the greatest military force against the whites, who fought them longest with greater degree of consistency and had more victories than anyone in Africa, were the Zulus. A war has been declared against us. And this war started in the 15th and the 16th century, and that war is still going on, only now it is more sophisticated. This is the war against our manhood and our womanhood. Now, the war, all this exposure and this fake pity for the black family is part of the same war. The black family is in trouble, no more or less than any other family in the Western world. Western civilization is in decay because it is not civil. It is not a civilization at all. We are in trouble because that civilization, that mechanism never fit our temperament as a people. It's like a body rejecting a transplanted heart that simply won't go with the body. We are rejecting the container that they put us into. Now, when I gave a lecture on the historical origin of teenage pregnancy and didn't blame the black men, the black women fraternities who invited me got angry. I said, there was no teenage pregnancy in Africa. There was no African man calling women bitches. There were no broken homes in Africa. Now, who is this black man who's breaking homes, sighing children that he don't support, and slapping women around for reminding him of his responsibility? Who is he? Who created him? Western oppression and Western environment. That don't mean he is right at all. That don't mean he needs to be excused. If he had revolutionary fervor, he would have revolted against the conditioning and been a man in spite of it. That I would be and do what a man's supposed to do, no matter what kind of oppression you place on me, because that is what I am. I am the shoulder of responsibility. When you touch a woman romantically and physically, when you have the privilege of sharing the sacredness of her personal favor, the two of you are about to change the world. That's no small